Talk to us a little bit about how Paddy's been over the last few months training, because look, whenever he steps in the octagon, whenever he's fighting with Cage Warriors, he's always in good shape. Obviously, he loses all that weight, he's got the six-pack and all that. Saturday night, he's coming out with, he's got delts and traps, got a backside now, like ripped up. That was a completely different looking physique that we're used to seeing from Paddy Pimblett. Have you seen things being a bit different this time round?
It's funny because I heard Paddy in the media say that this was one of his toughest camps and one of his hardest mentally, and that the gym was speaking about pulling him out. But I don't see his home life. I don't know what he's going through sometimes. I just see him in the gym. And for me in the gym, I thought that he looked the best he'd ever looked. I thought he'd built off the back of the last camp he'd had. He'd stayed in kind of good shape. Like you said, even like you seen him at the public weigh-in and in the cage, he was massive. He rehydrated well. So I honestly looked at this fight stylistically as well and thought, I just can't see Bobby beating Paddy. He'll never out-grapple him. And Paddy's going to be too big and can take a good shot. And on the feet, he's a lot better than people give him credit for. I just thought there was no way that he was losing personally. But then when I heard his side where he was saying it was a bad camp, I don't think he meant like in the gym. I think he was talking about like, the mental side of it, and because he did just add 2 kids, and it's hard on you when you're at home and you've got like, now you're a dad and all this pressure, and the world's obviously still trashing him for what happened with the Jared Gordon fight. Maybe some of that added up onto him. But what I seen from him in the gym, especially having to spar him all the time, is that he was sharp.
Yeah, talk to us about that. What are sparring sessions like between you and Patrick?
Well, Paddy had obviously a fight in King Green, who's a southpaw, and I'm a southpaw, and there's only one other southpaw in the gym, Liam Malloy. So I think me and Liam were the main sparring partners for him. He had Luke Riley as well, who's a very good striker, mimicking Bobby, because Bobby does switch orthodox as well. But I felt like I did give him a good few rounds in the camp. I'm always there in all the camps anyway. Like I'm training pretty much all year round, so I did get to do a lot of rounds with him. And let me tell you now, it's very hard to spar Paddy the Baddy with your hands down, trying to be King Green, because it's just so dangerous. I literally want to pick my hands back up when I'm getting it with him, and I'm trying to keep my hands down and do the crazy King Green style.
How far do you think Paddy can go? He's now ranked number 15 with the UFC. He's talking about fighting Renato Moicano, who's number 10. Do you think he could win a UFC title?
How many fights did Darren Till win to get to the belt?
This isn't a quiz. I'm not getting
5.
There you go.
Paddy's won 6. And that's no knock on Darren, because I'm a big Darren fan. But he's doing it, do you know what I mean? And no matter what you say about him and all the hate on him, he's still winning the fights. And I do feel like Moicano next, I feel it'll be the same like Bobby Green.
Really?
Yeah, I think stylistically and the size, like Moicano could make featherweight. Paddy's just a big boy in there, lad. And do you know what it is? Like what Paddy said, like people look at him and judge him for what he looks like. If he was, I don't know, this scary looking scar on his face, people would take him a lot more seriously.
That's fair.
But you got to judge him by his skill set and what he's doing. He's 6-0 in the UFC, 4 performance of the night bonuses, 4 finishes, is it? Like, it's hard to do that in the toughest division. I do feel like he can beat Moicano. Maybe like, let's say if I'm the matchmaker now.
Go on.
After Moicano, let's say we go like Fiziev. I think stylistically he can out-grapple him and beat him. And then after that, you look at the top, your Michael Chandlers, your Justin Gaethjes, your Charles. He just needs to beat one of them. And then it's the title. I think that's very doable. And who knows? Maybe they could give him it sooner.
Yeah.
Maybe the other guys who are at the top now, if none of them can beat Islam and they keep falling, maybe they go, well, we've got no one else. Paddy, you're in.
Yeah.
You could get there sooner than what people are thinking. And it's one of them. Controversy sells as well. Like, people are going to be like, why is he getting a title shot? He doesn't deserve it. But they'll be speaking about it. And as long as people speak about it, and as long as it sells, and as long as it makes money, the UFC are interested.
There we go. You're good at this matchmaking business.
I know. Give me a job.
Um,
Octagon, let me match my own fights.
Let's talk about this fight then. Leon Edwards, Balal Muhammad, Balal winning on all three judges' scorecards. Look, we'll talk about Leon in a second, but let's give some credit to Balal Muhammad. He came over to the champion's backyard and did exactly what he said he was going to do. As someone who appreciates grappling the way you do, take the emotion out of it, that you're like Leon, how impressive was it, what he did?
I think, first of all, you have to look at the first fight and how it was going up until the eye poke. It was pretty much all Leon. Leon was doing very well. So for him to now come back into Leon's territory, obviously everyone betting against him, he kind of gets a bit of hate for having that boring style. To still go in and do his style, implement his game plan, and to do it so dominantly the way he did. He only lost one round, and it was due to a mistake, let's say. You'd have to say hats off to him. And even though I'm a big Leon fan, I am a Balal fan.
Yeah.
Like, I do still like Balal. You know, Leon was saying he felt a bit flat, felt tired. Did the time have something to do with it? But the conditions are the same for everyone.
If you look at Leon Edwards, it reminded me quite a lot of that second Kamaru Usman fight, which was at altitude in Salt Lake City, because he did look flat. There's no way around it. He did look flat.
In the first round, I thought he looked flat, and I was like turning to me mate, like, is he tired, or is he just thinking about the 5 rounds? And then when it got to the second round, we were like, no, yeah, he's tired here, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll be very disappointed in his performance.
And people can say what they want, but fighting going backwards is very, very hard. It's a lot more tiring than fighting going forwards. And Balal pressured him the whole fight and was in his face.
Yeah.
So you gotta respect the game plan, innit? He come in and done his thing.
Massive respect to Balal Muhammad. Very few people were saying, not even that he was going to do that, very few people were giving him a genuine chance to beat Leon Edwards. And he didn't just beat him. He absolutely dominated that fight. Do you think he stays champion for a while, or do you think we could see a bit of the title moving around here?
It's hard to say. Depends on the matchmaking. I don't know who does he fight
You're the
next.
matchmaker, come on.
Oh, I'm the matchmaker, welterweight division, Shavkat.
Shavkat's the one, right?
It's a tough fight. It's a tough fight. Ian Gary, I think stylistically he can beat Ian.
Yeah. With
the wrestling, yeah. Like you seen Ian wrestle MVP, and then you see the level of Balal wrestling. I think. Although I do like Ian, and I'd love to see Ian win the belt, but I could see Balal winning that. But Shavkat, now that's a tougher fight. I think Shavkat has the potential to be champion. Maybe Leon goes back, wins another fight, comes back again. It's hard to say, but if Shavkat doesn't win it, I could see Balal keeping it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible.
How do you think a fight would go between Leon Edwards, Ian Gary?
I'd have to side with Leon.
Would you?
Yeah, just because the experience and the people he's fought. Like Ian Gary, the age of him, I think he will become UFC champion. Look at the time he's got ahead of him. As long as he stays focused, he stays in the gym, money doesn't change him, because he will start making some serious money, obviously. He's at the top of the division. As long as he stays like focused on what he wants, I think he's got the potential to be champion one day. These guys are going to be gone soon. MVP's older, Leon's older, Balal's older, Usman's on the way out. Like, it'll be his time soon. But right now, I think Leon would edge him. I think Leon's just more well-rounded, very good jiu-jitsu, very good wrestling. If he had to make it a bit ugly and grapple with him, I think he could do him. Yeah, especially 5 rounds.
Yeah.
3 rounds, Ian Gary has much more of a chance.
I can see them making that fight.
I think they should.
I can see them making that. It's got a nice storyline.
Yeah.
There's a bit of, it's not bad blood, is it? But just a nice little...
With what happened in the gym when they sparred. And
both of them can make it sound however they want to make it sound, and then bring them together. It'd be really interesting. But I don't know about you, but I get the feeling that Leon's going to have to do some hard work before he gets back.
He had to do some hard work to get to the title. Look how many fights he had to win just to become champion. So now to get a second shot against the guy that they said the fight was boring and the first one was a no contest, he's definitely going to have to graft to get there. But let's see.
I guess everything now is what's next for Tom. We understand that John Jones is going to be fighting Stipe in November at Madison Square Garden. Everybody else in the world wants to see Tom Aspinall against John Jones. If I can, want to put you in John Jones's shoes for a second. If you were going to fight Tom Aspinall, would it not be better to do it as soon as possible? Because the longer you wait, the older you're going to get, the better Tom Aspinall's going to get.
I don't think he's thinking like that, though. I think he's just thinking, I'm not fighting him.
Really?
He's going to taint his legacy if he loses. If he beats Stipe and calls it a day, he goes down as the greatest of all time. Above Khabib, above GSP, above Anderson Silva, the body of work, he will go down as the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe the UFC don't want to taint that as well. The UFC don't want Makayev to come in and be champion and beat John Jones as youngest ever champion. They don't want Tom to beat John and then John doesn't go down as the number one greatest of all time. But if I'm John Jones, I couldn't call it a day without knowing.
John's legacy doesn't need it, does it?
It definitely doesn't need it, but he's going to go to bed every night wondering, would I have beat that man? And I know in his head, I know he is certain he would beat Tom Aspinall. And I know Tom Aspinall in his head is certain he'd beat John, because to get to that level, that's the mentality that you have to have. And any of them can win on any given day. So he knows he can do it. But it's, will he actually get in there? Who knows? Only they can answer them questions, innit? And you got to think as well, if the promotion don't want it to happen, or do they want it to happen? Like, I don't know the behind the scene politics, what's going on. You'd have to get Dana on here for that one. Like.
Indeed. I may do with you for today, though, Shem. But I suppose they're in the business of making stars. And if they think John Jones is about to retire and we've got this new guy coming through who can headline arenas around the world, maybe they'll think this is worth it.
Maybe.
Who wins?
Right now.
Right.
If it happens.
Let's say John comes through Stipe,
okay.
Looks good, feels good. This time next year.
I can't go against Aspinall right now.
Really?
Young, hungry, up and coming. I just think like he's got good hands on him. I think John would try and grapple. If it didn't go his way, grappling, and it stayed on the feet, I'd have to give it to Tom, lad. He's the next generation, the new breed.
Imagine having this conversation a couple of years ago.
I know.
Imagine.
I know, yeah. I would have called you a liar, lad. I would have said, they're not going to fight, lad.
Yeah.
I'd take it on any terms.
Yeah.
I'd take the fight on any terms. John's known for winning by any means necessary. We've seen fights in the past before where maybe it didn't look like it was his night, but he still somehow gets a victory.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's what being a champion is. It doesn't matter like how good you feel, is it going your way or not. You got to dig deep sometimes and just get the win somehow.
Yeah.
And even if he went and done that against Stipe, then it's still a win over Stipe, the heavyweight GOAT in my opinion, in the UFC especially. So if you can beat that guy, I want to see it happen. I'd want to see it happen without Stipe.
Yeah.
If they just done it now.
Yeah.
I'd want to see it happen. They've look what the body of work John's done and everything's Tom's doing now. There's no one more deserving than Aspinall right now. Mm-hmm. And what are we making interim belts for then? For them to not get unified? Yeah. Who defends an interim belt? It's unheard of.
I know.
He should have got the unified belt wrapped around his waist on Saturday.
Yeah, that's the power of John Jones, though, isn't it? When you've done what he's done.